So going at quarterbacks right now, you got two guys. You got Brock Purdy against Dallas, and you got CJ Stroud at Atlanta. You got Purdy as your number 8 guy, which is 9 spots above the ECR, and that's a very significant hire. I like it when you do those. And then Stroud, you got him at QB 9, 4 higher than the experts. Also significant in that, you know, he's a fringe starter according to the experts, and you like him as a solid starter. But the Purdy one, much bigger discrepancy. Talk about those guys real quick.
I mean, 10-23 have that one kind of quote-unquote dud with 15 points. That's his low on the year. Then 20 and 21, back-to-back 20-point days, quarterback 13 and quarterback 11. So has he crossed into where I have him right now at quarterback 9? No, but I think actually this Dallas defense, it is phenomenal. I get it, but they've been swallowing up Mac Jones and Daniel Jones, and even Josh Dobbs had a 20-point day against this defense. I think the San Fran's a different beast than anything Dallas has faced with Travion Diggs out now. I think Trayvon Diggs, that's a big absence that we haven't really seen them feel quite yet. I think this line won't neutralize Micah Parsons, but certainly better than anything they faced yet. And Purdy just has 2 touchdowns or more in all but one start, not just this year, but every start he's ever made, and he's won them all as well in the regular season. I'm a huge fan of this Purdy kid. The weapons around him are such beastly. And I actually think the fact that they're facing a good team on the other side raises the bar, raises the ceiling, because they can't just bleed the clock for the final entire second half. I love Brock Purdy in this spot. I am not scared of the Dallas Cowboys in this matchup. I think it actually kind of helps him in a weird, sneaky way. And then you mentioned CJ Stroud, Atlanta, nothing overly scary as a defense, and 21, 21, and 22 fantasy points across his last 3 games, has been a top 12 quarterback for every single one of those weeks with, again, 384, 280, and 306 yards in those 3 games while playing behind a makeshift line that's only getting healthier right now, only getting better chemistry with his weapons. It's just so fun to be part of it's your fantasy team, but to you see this offense growing and have that be your guy as your leader, your locker room guy. I love CJ Stroud. I love what this kid's doing. And I think he's easily a top 12 quarterback, and he's ranked outside of it right now. So give me CJ Stroud and give me Brock Purdy, 2 of the higher floor with solid ceiling guys this week, in my opinion.
It's so funny that you refer to, like, you know, being part of like the process of watching him grow, because it's so stupid, and I totally get it. Like,
it's my boy out there. I'm so
like, oh yeah, like we talk about, like, I mean, we literally talk about like stabilizing influences in our locker rooms, like they're a real thing, because I genuinely believe that they are, even though of course they're not. All right, lower, got 2 guys again. Trevor Lawrence at Buffalo. You got it, like him all the way down at 17. For some reason, the experts like him at 10, which I really don't get. And then this one only significant in 2 quarterback leagues. You've got Daniel Jones at 19. The experts like him at 14. I don't know how both these rankings by the experts make no sense to me. So I don't know. Get into it.
No. Trevor Lawrence, we'll start with him. He's ahead of both those guys, CJ Stroud and Brock Purdy, in the expert ranking. Makes 0 sense to me. He's getting a Buffalo team that has not allowed more than 13 fantasy points to quarterbacks. And yeah, you might say, well, Wolf, they've only faced Zach Wilson, Jimmy Garoppolo, Sam Howell, and the leading MVP candidate in Tua last week. They completely stifled him, 13 points. Now they're expected to get Von Miller back on defense just to boost that pass rush even further. And as we talked about when we were going through some of the news, Trevor Lawrence, he's had that one solid game in week 1. He hasn't even hit 20 points yet. 19 was his season high, quarterback 8 there. And then 9, 15, and 16, 32, 19, and 16 quarterback finish these last 3 weeks. He hasn't been anything special, and you can blame everything else you want, but it hasn't been great. This is his worst matchup yet. I do not like Trevor Lawrence at all this week, especially compared to, again, those names like CJ Stroud and Brock Purdy we talked about. And then, Daniel Jones, somehow the quarterback 14, which might give people the impression you can start this guy. How could you possibly do so? They have the lowest passing game average, like 110 yards passing on the season so far. They have the most sacks other than Sam Howell at this point. Maybe I think actually those 11 sacks pushed him over the edge, Daniel Jones, this last week. In Miami, not a good defense, probably going to need to chase points. And yet they can get after the passer at an okay clip. So no way you can trust Daniel Jones. It has been so abysmal that he's played one good half of football against Arizona, and it was a 32-point half. I mean, he put up a ton, and it showed you that, when everything clicks, maybe this guy can score you those points in bunches. Other than that, 6-5 and 11 fantasy points, though, it is so bad. I don't know how anybody can have this guy as a fringe QB1. It makes zero sense to me. Lowest pass yards, lowest total points as a team.
Come on.
They're averaging, 11 points as a team per game right now?
That sounds about right. That's about the eye test. Let me say two things. First of all, remember when I had to talk you down from your predictions for Daniel Jones for the year?
Oh God, I know. So bad.
I should have gone harder at you. Second of all, you talked about how he's basically played like one good quarter of football this year. I was lucky enough to text you right before that quarter and talk shit to you a little, and then you came back with, "Oh, looks like he is pretty awesome." And it's like, yeah.
Anything else to say over here, Wise?
I tended to I walked into the one punch that he's thrown all year, basically.
Yeah.
Josh Dobbs.
That one uppercut.
I know you did. You did get me on that one. That's one of those where you're just like, God damn. Josh Dobbs against Cincinnati, 19% roster. That's your Hail Mary.
Yeah, absolutely. Over 20 points in 2 of his last 3, 17 in the other one. Quarterback 5 and 8 in those 2 20-point days. And the big thing has been 41, 55, and 48 rush yards with an increase in rushes every single week. 3, then 6, then 12. He's got some little Konami juice. Last week's game of 23 points, he had 2 receivers drop touchdowns at the end of that game. Should have been 27 points. Would have been a top 3 quarterback had either of those guys hauled that in. He's been just really, really solid in the spot. Against Cincy is not bad at all. They have been a much worse secondary without Bates over there, and they're one of the worst teams at defending the run right now. So I think this plays right into Dobbs' strength. I'd rather have him than Joe Burrow in my lineup on the other side of the ball, which is nuts, but it's true.
What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.